Welcome to Fluent by Story. Today we dive deep into the fascinating histories of two of the greatest empires the world has ever known, the Roman Empire and the Mongol Empire. Though separated by centuries and geography, these empires shaped the world in remarkable ways through their military power, political innovation, and cultural influence. By exploring their growth, governance, and legacies, we will uncover valuable lessons about leadership, resilience, and the complex nature of empire building. Whether you love history or are learning English, this story is packed with rich vocabulary and compelling narratives to help you improve your skills while discovering the past. Let's embark on this epic journey together. Part 1. Origins, Rise, and Expansion of the Roman and Mongol Empires. In the vast chronicle of human civilization, two empires stand out for their extraordinary expansion, sheer power, and lasting influence: the Roman Empire and the Mongol Empire. Though their origins are rooted in vastly different cultures and geographies, Rome on the banks of the Tiber River in the temperate Italian peninsula, and the Mongol Empire on the cold, unforgiving steppes of Central Asia, their stories share a common thread of ambition, strategic brilliance, and remarkable adaptability. The Roman Empire, one of the longest-lasting in human history, began humbly as a small kingdom in the 8th century BCE, gradually transforming into a republic by the 6th century BCE, and eventually an imperial powerhouse by 27 BCE under Augustus Caesar. Rome's expansion was deliberate, structured, and deeply rooted in a fusion of military conquest, political alliance, and strategic colonization. By contrast, the Mongol Empire rose explosively in the early 13th century under the leadership of Temujin, who would be crowned Genghis Khan. His rise from a fragmented tribal existence to ruling the largest contiguous land empire in history is a testament to raw ambition, unparalleled military strategy, and the ability to unify fiercely independent nomadic tribes into a single, fearsome force. The early growth of Rome was driven by constant conflict with neighboring tribes and states, including the Etruscans, Samnites, and various Gallic groups. Rome's military was not only a tool of conquest, but also a social and political institution. Service in the legions was tied to land ownership, citizenship, and honor. This interweaving of martial and civic life produced a disciplined and highly motivated fighting force. Furthermore, Roman roads and infrastructure allowed legions to move swiftly across the growing republic, enabling rapid response to threats and the projection of power. The conquest of Carthage in the Punic Wars marked a turning point. Rome was no longer just an Italian power, but a Mediterranean one. By the time of Julius Caesar, Rome had stretched its reach into Gaul, Britain, and parts of the Middle East. This expansion brought immense wealth, but also internal tensions, leading to the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. The Mongol Empire, unlike Rome, had no roads or cities at its core. Instead, it relied on an unmatched mastery of mobility, horse riding, and psychological warfare. Genghis Khan was not only a brilliant general, but a visionary leader who reorganized Mongol society, eliminating tribal divisions and creating a unified command structure based on merit. His army was fast, flexible, and brutally efficient. Mongol tactics included feigned retreats, encirclements, and the use of terror to break enemy morale. Within just a few decades, the Mongols had overrun vast territories, from China to Persia, from Russia to Eastern Europe. Unlike Rome's gradual step-by-step expansion, Mongol conquests were swift and overwhelming, often achieved within a single generation. The speed at which the Mongol Empire expanded is unmatched in history. Despite their differences, both empires shared a strategic genius for expansion. Rome used a combination of military might, road building, and the extension of citizenship to integrate conquered peoples. The Mongols, while often more brutal in conquest, were surprisingly tolerant in administration. They allowed local leaders to remain in power if they pledged loyalty and paid tribute. Both empires understood the importance of infrastructure. Rome built roads, aqueducts, and forts. The Mongols established relay stations and trade routes across Eurasia. These innovations facilitated not only military movement, but also cultural and economic exchange. For Rome, the Mediterranean became Mare Nostrum, our sea, linking distant provinces into a single economic and cultural unit. For the Mongols, the Silk Road flourished under their protection, connecting east and west in unprecedented ways. Leadership was critical in both empires. Augustus Caesar, Rome's first emperor, established a model of stable, centralized authority that endured for centuries. His reign marked the beginning of the Pax Romana, a 200-year period of relative peace and prosperity. Similarly, Genghis Khan created a legacy that extended beyond his lifetime. His descendants, Kublai Khan in China, Hulagu Khan in Persia, continued to expand and consolidate the empire. These leaders codified laws, patronized trade, and promoted a meritocratic ethos that allowed their empires to function despite their immense size. The effectiveness of Roman and Mongol leadership can be seen in the way both empires managed to hold together vast, ethnically diverse populations over enormous territories. While Rome took centuries to build its empire through steady conquest and assimilation, the Mongols achieved theirs in a single lifetime through shock and awe. Rome built cities, forums, temples, and amphitheaters. The Mongols left fewer permanent structures but connected the world in ways never before possible. Their contrasting methods, brick by brick versus blitzkrieg, offer valuable insights into the dynamics of empire building. In the end, both empires stood as unmatched powers of their time, setting the stage for complex systems of governance, warfare, and cultural exchange that continue to influence the modern world. Their stories of origin and expansion reveal not only the ambition of great leaders but also the capacities and resilience of human societies striving to master their environment and destiny. Part 2. Systems, Society, and Legacy of the Roman and Mongol Empires. To fully appreciate the monumental legacy of the Roman and Mongol empires, it is essential to examine the intricate systems they built, the societal structures they cultivated, and the long-term cultural and political imprints they left behind. While their methods and lifestyles were starkly different, both empires achieved remarkable feats in governance, military logistics, economic administration, and cultural integration. The Roman Empire developed a bureaucratic and legalistic system that emphasized order, justice, and the integration of conquered peoples through laws and civic duties. Roman law, particularly the 12 Tables and later the Corpus Juris Civilis, under Justinian, became foundational texts for many modern legal systems. Provinces were governed by appointed officials who were responsible for taxation, legal enforcement, and public infrastructure. Local elites were often co-opted into Roman governance, which fostered loyalty and a sense of shared destiny. In contrast, The Mongol Empire adopted a decentralized model of governance where local rulers were allowed to maintain their positions if they pledged allegiance and paid tribute. This approach enabled the Mongols to administer vast and diverse territories with limited administrative personnel, while ensuring loyalty through fear, respect, and economic incentives. Both empires maintained strong military structures, but the nature of their military power reveals their contrasting cultural identities. The Roman legions were professionalized and heavily structured, with ranks, training schools, standardized equipment, and strict discipline. Military engineering was a cornerstone of Roman warfare. The construction of forts, siege engines, and fortified camps gave them a significant advantage in protracted conflicts. The Mongol military, on the other hand, prioritized speed, flexibility, and autonomy. Their forces were composed of cavalry units organized into decimals, units of 10, 100, 1,000, etc., and led by officers appointed through merit. Logistics for the Mongol army were astonishingly efficient. They could live off the land, move swiftly over great distances, and communicate across the empire using a relay system called the Yam. This allowed commanders to coordinate attacks, thousands of miles apart with surprising precision. Economically, Rome thrived on agricultural production, trade, and slave labor. The Roman economy was underpinned by a vast network of roads and ports, facilitating the exchange of goods across continents, from Spanish olive oil to Egyptian grain and Indian spices. Roman currency and taxation systems enabled a complex financial structure that supported the military and urban development. Cities like Alexandria, Antioch, and Carthage became economic hubs within the empire. The Mongol economy, while not as urban or monetized, revolutionized trade through the protection and expansion of the Silk Road. By ensuring safe passage for merchants, artisans, and scholars, the Mongols created a vast transcontinental network that allowed for the free flow of goods, technology, and ideas. Paper, gunpowder, and printing techniques traveled from east to west, while precious metals, glassware, and fabrics moved in the opposite direction. Part 3. Legacy, Decline, and Lessons from the Roman and Mongol Empires. The Roman and Mongol empires, though born centuries apart and across vastly different worlds, both left enduring legacies that shaped the course of global history, culture, and governance in profound ways. Rome's influence is omnipresent in modern Western civilization, from legal systems rooted in Roman law to languages descended from Latin, to architectural marvels that inspired Renaissance and neoclassical art, to the very idea of republican governance and citizenship. The Pax Romana, a remarkable period of peace and stability under Roman rule, created a flourishing environment for the arts, philosophy, and economic prosperity that resonates even today. Roman ideas about civic duty, law, engineering, and urban planning form the foundation of many modern institutions and infrastructures. Its legacy persists in the very names of continents, cities, and legal codes. The Christian religion, which rose during the latter period of the empire and eventually became its state religion, also owes much of its early spread to the Roman road systems and administrative coherence. The Mongol Empire, despite its comparatively brief span, radically transformed the Eurasian world by knitting together distant cultures through trade, communication, and diplomacy. The unprecedented safety and connectivity of the Silk Road under Mongol protection allowed ideas, technologies, and goods to traverse continents, linking East Asia with the Middle East and Europe in ways that fueled the Renaissance, and eventually, the Age of Exploration. Mongol rule introduced novel concepts of meritocracy and religious tolerance that contrasted with many contemporary states. Their open approach to knowledge exchange, welcoming scholars, artisans, and merchants regardless of origin, sparked cultural synthesis and innovation. Though often remembered for their military conquests and brutality, the Mongols were also facilitators of globalization centuries before the term existed. The political fragmentation after the death of Genghis Khan led to the emergence of successor states, which continued to shape regional histories and identities for generations. However, both empires also faced intrinsic challenges that led to their decline, challenges rooted in their vast territorial spans, administrative complexities, and evolving external pressures. The Roman Empire, split into eastern and western halves in its twilight, struggled with internal corruption, economic strain, overextension, and relentless invasions by barbarian tribes. Its fall in 476 CE marked the end of antiquity, but also set the stage for medieval Europe's reorganization and eventual rebirth. The Mongol Empire fragmented earlier due to internecine conflicts, succession struggles, and the difficulty of governing such diverse peoples across immense distances. Yet, even in decline, the Mongol influence lingered in the political structures and cultures of Russia, China, Persia, and Central Asia. The stories of these empires offer timeless lessons about the nature of power, governance, and cultural exchange. They remind us that empire building demands not only military might, but also diplomatic acumen, infrastructural innovation, and social integration. Both the Romans and Mongols understood that ruling a vast and diverse population requires flexibility, tolerance, and a balance between centralized control and local autonomy. Their histories teach us about the impermanence of power, the impact of leadership vision, and the enduring power of ideas that transcend borders. As modern societies grapple with globalization, cultural diversity, and governance challenges, the legacies of the Roman and Mongol empires remain as relevant as ever, echoes from the past guiding the future. Thank you for joining Fluent by Story to explore the incredible journeys of the Roman and Mongol empires. Their stories remind us that great power comes with great responsibility, and that history is shaped not only by battles and conquests, but also by culture, ideas, and human connection. We hope this story inspired you and helped you learn new English words and expressions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more engaging stories that improve your English and expand your knowledge. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.